Hi, welcome to Robyn Scherer Photography. Today we're going to go over replacing eyes when you have glasses that have a reflection. I have two images pulled up. I've done this before, but I'm going to do it this time because the reflection's stronger, and I'm going to show you how to use the warp tool and how to replace the eye so you have a clean look if you couldn't get one at your location. So let's get started. So here is the image I'm going to start with, and I'm going to reset, pop my basic preset on. Obviously that's too orangey, too bright, so I'm going to grab the eyedropper. We're going to go to a gray or a white, and if you hit the backslash, that will give you the before, and this is the after. This is not exactly what I want color-wise, so it's a start. So I'm going to go ahead and do the 8x10. I love a good rule of thirds. With a headshot, you're normally going to go with, in the rule of thirds, I usually put the eyes on one of the rule of thirds lines, and then we're usually going to crop a little bit underneath the chest. Here with the arms crossed, I'm going to keep the arms in. So fix that. And now we're going to go ahead and get the color organized. So I'm going to pull the exposure down, and I'm going to use the eyedropper like I always do to check skin tone. So on Caucasians, you are looking for the RGB on that target to be 75, 65, 55, or 85, 78, 68 to get a creamy skin tone. So here we are at a mid-tone of 76, 63, 49. So our blues are not warm enough. His skin's not warm enough. It's a little bit maybe too pinky. So what I'm going to do is zoom in on the teeth. That's really a great place to use the eyedropper to get your white balance. And you can see it made it a lot cooler. I'm still going to bring it up. I'm going to use the eyedropper again. We're closer, 77, 65, 52. I'm going to warm it up a hair more. Check that again. So we're a little bit worse. So we're going to come down here as another area you can check. And if you check here and it's not quite right, you want to move around because this is the other area you want to check. 76, 64, 53. I'm okay being a point or two off. I like this. I think his skin tone looks pretty good here. If you go into a highlight area, for example, here, you really don't want the R to be over 90, so it's a bit bright. So we're going to pull that down a hair and then check it one more time. And you can see we're almost right on target there. So I'm okay with that. We're going to backslash, and you can see he has a ruddy tone to him anyways, so I think that's pretty right on point. So from here, I'm going to do a little bit of skin smoothing. I'm going to pick out my brush. I'm going to do a little bit of smoothing. And you'll want to do the majority of your work before you enter Photoshop to do the eye swap. So I'm liking this. I'm going to pop his eyes with one of my brushes. Again, if you subscribe, you can see the other videos, and I do have a create your brush video. I talk about how to create your brushes to do your eye pops. And so I do like how that brightened his eyes. So we'll do the backslash before, after. And you can see there's quite a bit of reflection here. I'm not loving that. I'm going to check the skin tone one more time. We're right on target here, and we could probably go, I don't know, maybe a teeny bit brighter. I feel like that's too bright still. So let's bring up the highlights a little bit, and let's check his skin tone here. That's still hitting right, so I'm happy with that. I'm going to zoom in here, see if there's anything I need to take care of. I might remove a couple of spots, you know, things that you could get removed if you wanted to. I will always remove, if you're working on a teenager, acne, because that's something that they can get rid of. But if it's a scar, I always like to ask them, is this part of your story? Do you want to keep that? So just something to keep in mind. This, I'm just kind of freshening him up here. So I'm pretty happy with this. And let's go back out. Let's do the before and after. I'm happy with this. Let's go to the next image that I'm going to use his eyes. So moving over, so what I will do in this instance is I will copy my settings so that the skin tone, everything I've done transfers over to the other image that we're going to be using. And then I'm definitely going to crop him because you want the eyes to be the same size. So we're going to crop him to be the same. So now if we toggle over, his eyes are a little bit different, but they're enough that we can use it. So what we'll do here is I'm definitely going to brighten his eyes. Grab my brush, brighten them up. I'm going to smooth his skin just a little bit because, again, you want to make sure that everything is as equal and the same as you possibly can so that it's a smooth eye swap transition. So I'm liking this. So now we're going to pull them both in. You're going to choose them both. You're going to go into photo and edit in, and it's going to pull it right into Photoshop. And that's where a lot of the magic will happen. And then we can save it back into Lightroom and just review it and make sure we like what we're looking at. So Photoshop is opening and both images will be in here. And there's the second image. I'm going to scoot this in so you can see everything I'm doing in Photoshop. So here, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use the lasso tool and I'm going to grab his eye area. And then I will copy, edit, copy. Then I will go to the other image and I will go edit, paste. So now here are his eyes. I'm going to use the move toggle so I can move them up. Now you can see they do look quite smaller. So here's where we're going to go into edit, transform, and I'm going to scale them right now so that they are the same size as the head we are looking at. So we're going to scale that, and you can kind of go by the nose here. And what you'll also do is come over here and you see the opacity. So we're going to take the opacity down and you can see his eyes are disappearing up there. And if you go just where you can see both sets of eyes and then zoom in. And so I'm going to bring that box up so I can see better. So here with the opacity at 39, remember it's over here. You can see this is the eye. These are the eyes we want to replace. These are with, and these are the eyes we are replacing. So we are right about perfect with scale. They need to come out just a little bit more. So we're going to move it up and you can see just a little bit more this way. And let's move it down. Check it out one more time. Beautiful. So this looks about right. So now we're going to pull the opacity back up. And now we are going to say done. At this point, you're going to come back over to this layer. You're going to do a layer mask and you're going to do Command I. So that white layer here covers the eyes that you were seeing. So then you'll come back over here. I'll move me down a little bit. You will switch this here. So now you have the black layer on top and you're going to grab the brush. You can also hit B on a Mac. So now you have your brush. You're going to use your brackets to enlarge or make it smaller. So over here, let's switch back to white. White is going to uncover the black that we covered up. And up here we have opacity. You want it at 100%. So now you'll start to see the eyes we want to replace with come back into view. So I'm going to make my circle, my brush a little bit smaller so I can be a little bit more detail oriented. So I'm going to start uncovering those eyes we'd like to use. And I won't get incredibly tedious and specific here, as it would take a long time, but I want you to see just how you would do this. And you can see how his eyes are just much cleaner looking, clearer looking by doing this process. Now you can see the line here. We would switch back to black to cover up, and I'm going to cover that line right in there. Now if I switch back to white and go to a smaller brush, we can erase that marking there. So now you can see some of the before glasses. That's where you can come over here and take, this is the remove tool, and make using the brackets, make it very small, and you can just clean this up with a little brush and Photoshop will clean it for you. And so because these colors here, you can see a little bit of gray and then the skin tone. As soon as this is done, I'm going to show you how you would clean that up. Now that's taking a little bit because we're recording. So now I'm going to come in here and just clean up that gray. And again, I'm going to do a little bit of a quicker edit here to save time, but you definitely want to be precise when you're presenting this to a client. But I will show you pretty much how you would do it, and then you would just take your time on every step, making sure it was incredibly clean and precise. So you can see that little dot there. It should clean it up with the remove tool. So I'm going to hit the brush again here, and we'll do this eye. So in just a second here. So now I'm going to hit the B on the, or you can click the brush, and I'm going to use the brackets to make the brush a little bigger. Over here, we're on white to expose. So we're going to expose the other eye. I'm going to use the brackets to make that a little bit smaller. So here we go. So now in this situation, I honestly would go back and grab a bigger lasso of his eyes so that this skin tone matched better. If you swap back to black here, you can correct this little area, and then swap back to white, and I'll swap back to black and give that a little bit of a cleanup. And then, like I said, I would use the remove tool here, and most likely I would probably go back and get a bigger grab of the eye area so that all of the skin tone is the same. It's easier than using the remove tool and finessing with the brush. So I would go in here right now just to show you how that would work, and use the remove tool, and that would clean up the skin tone a bit, but it's definitely not your preferred method. You definitely want to get a bigger grab of the eyes so all of the skin tone in that glass area is his natural skin tone. But you can see how doing the eye swap cleans up the eyes. And if you come back over here to the eye over here and you click it, that's the before, that's the after, before, after. And if you want to do that quite a bit so that you are always making sure you are getting the result that you're after. So I'm going to go back here and see if I can clean that up. And if that didn't work with the remove tool on his glasses, you can always use the clone stamp and you could stamp that out. We'll see how the remove tool works right now. So it didn't work that great, and I'll just show you using the stamp tool. Again, using the brackets to reduce, what you would do is you would put your cursor here, hold the option. That's going to grab what you want to use. And I would make it a little bit bigger here and grab Not sure why it is making that the wider area. I'll try it again here. And that's a little bit how you would use the clone tool. Anyways, I'm going to leave this as is. And again, you can see the before and after. So now you have cleaner eyes. And you would work on the tilt. You would definitely tilt his the eyes down to the right here a little bit. However, this gives you the idea of how to do the eye swap. And then you would come over here to your flat. And I believe I have another video that tells you how to do your compression and your actions. So that would flatten. We would save, file, save. And that will take it back into Lightroom as this image. So you can see it saving. So it's done. We will X out, and we will X out of this, and we will not save. And we will go out of Photoshop. So now you see it has, you can see down here it has the edit.tiff. That is your newer file name for this one. So we'll pull it up, and you can see how much cleaner the eyes look. And this was the before, after, before. Again, you would, when you go in there and use that opacity, you would tilt these down a little bit more. But I wasn't getting super specific with this particular edit, more just showing you the steps for replacing eyes. But it's definitely a cleaner look. So when you are photographing people with glasses, I always recommend taking a photo of them in the exact same pose with their glasses off. That way you have a clean set of eyes and you can swap them out under the glasses. So that is a pro tip. So click subscribe. I hope that you found this helpful, and leave a comment, ask away. Let me know if you want any other videos. Be happy to make them for you. And check out my class on Udemy for the Mastering the Art of Senior Portrait Photography, as that is my niche. Okay, and that's it for today. You guys take care. It was great to see you.